Okay, so in the movie The Matrix, we're in a computer-controlled reality, right? They've projected a false reality into people's minds to entertain them while their bodies are being exploited by the machines. And it's very similar here in the real world. You are inside of a reality which is false. It doesn't necessarily have to be computer-controlled, but it's certainly media-influenced.
But who controls it?
The people who are behind the media machine, the people who are in charge of the world, which are also behind the governments. And the point I'm making when I say the Matrix is they will tell you false versions of reality. They will tell you things that simply aren't true so that you believe in lies just to keep yourself and your mind distracted while your body is being exploited for work. And it's exactly the same thing as the movie itself. We can sit and discuss and go through conspiracy theories of who I believe these people are. But the truth is, you have to understand there's very influential people out there in the world with massive amounts of money, massive amounts of influence.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push certain agendas and ideals on the population because why wouldn't they? Let me give you a simple example of it, right? So if you have a company, you have a podcasting business, let's say.
Okay.
If you hire a member of staff who doesn't agree with you and doesn't do as you say and doesn't listen to you, you're going to fire him, right? You're going to want people to listen to you because you're in charge and you have influence. So if there's people who print money, and they're literally in charge of banks and in charge of governments and they own the world. Whatever they believe, whatever their influence, whatever their worldview is, they want to purport that and propagate that on the population, on the planet. And that's what happens where we have these ideas which are very heavily defended and certain ideas which are not allowed to be discussed, and a false reality which exists in which conversations cannot be open, dialect cannot be open, certain things must be accepted as fact, certain things can't be discussed at all. And this all comes from the top. This is not an accident. This comes from very powerful people trying to push a worldview on the populace. I think that Bill Gates is an extremely rich, influential person who certainly has had a role to play in certain agendas across the last few years.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of, you're thinking of it more as a small select room of people who are trying to control their world like a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It could be like that, but it's not like that. What it is you have very influential people with a lot of power, with a lot of resource, who are interested in creating slave minds amongst the general populace because they don't want to upset their very fortunate position in the world.
Yeah.
So there is a genuine and obvious agenda to attack masculinity as a whole, for example. The idea of masculinity, they like the idea of that being attacked. There's also obvious attempts to accelerate certain other ideas, whether, especially in the West, right?
Yeah.
The idea of children changing gender or putting sex in children's movies like Disney, etc. This is not conspiracy theories. This is all very obvious.
Yeah.
People are pushing these agendas and they're pushing them for a reason. And it's very powerful people who are doing it, and they're trying to destroy the morality and certainly the resolve of the general populace, the general people, because they want to keep their very fortunate positions. And that's what's happening. And I think you just need to understand that the people who are truly in charge of the world are sitting and saying, what is most advantageous to us?
Yeah.
Is it more advantageous to us if people are semi-depressed, self-obsessed, selfish, don't care about their neighbor, have no morality, atheistic, and will absorb anything they're told without any kind of resistance? Or is it better for us if they think for themselves and they're critically thinking and they believe in religion and they want to do good to God? And the truth is, in the West at least, it's the first answer to the things they're interested in. And I don't think these people are publicly known. I don't think they're well known, no. I think there's families that have been in charge of the world for a very long time. They put puppets in front completely. And these people are beyond money. Like even during the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people were saying, oh, I agree, Andrew, it's all a scam. They're doing it for money. And I said, no, that's a very optimistic way to look at the world. They're not doing it for money. These people are beyond money.
They have enough money.
They print money. They don't care about money. It's about power. It's about control. It's about influence. And it's about having enough people do as you say regardless. And it's an interesting time of humanity we're living in because now we have the internet. And there's supposed to be free speech, but there's certainly more free information. And I feel like a lot of people's minds are slowly waking up to the fact that a lot of the things you're told on the traditional news is a lie. The traditional media machine is nothing but a propaganda machine. And they're trying very hard to still keep control over us and keep influence over us. And they're doing that by, especially with the way societies work, especially with the way relationships work, with the way the children go to school, certain things they're keeping a very tight grip on because they know it's very important for their power and their propaganda. On an individual level, I can tell people how to escape the matrix, but on a societal level, it's far more complicated because the unfortunate reality is not everybody can escape. Yeah. You need some people to believe in the system completely, because if everybody didn't believe in the system, then society would break down. Nobody would want to do some bullshit job, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would all be gone. But as a whole, people certainly need to learn to reject the slave mind and reject the information that is told to them from the news, understand that's all a lie. People need to stand up for the obvious injustices they see. They need to state in clear language that Balenciaga are pedophiles, for example. That's very important for humanity, for it's clear. It's important that they control your speech because you're not going to think what you don't say. And this is how they control what people think, by controlling what people say in the first place. So that's very important. But on an individual level and on a societal level, they're different things. On an individual level, I think it's very important for you to be a sovereign individual, which is hard to do, especially in the modern world, but you need to have finances. It's hard to be free when you're broke. That finance needs to be in places or come from streams which can't be affected or canceled or turned off by the matrix machine. You need to be financially free. You need a strong network. You need good friends. You need to be anti-fragile. You need to be available to travel around the world, many passports. There's a whole bunch of things you can set up as an individual. But for the people watching at home, they just need to sit and understand that the system does not make rules for the good of you. It makes rules for the good of the people who make the rules. And a lot of the life paths and systematic processes that are laid out to the average man at home today is not for their own good. It's only going to lead them to depression and misery. It's for the good of the system. It's not globally, there's no way to overcome the matrix. I'm saying society would actually function better if some people do believe. So I'll give you an example during COVID, right? When I was walking around during COVID and I saw all these people wearing masks, I was flabbergasted that anybody gave a shit about any of this crap.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe people were wearing masks. I was like, why are you wearing a mask? But then you have to understand that if these people who can be so easily convinced to muzzle themselves, these are the exact same people you need to do a whole bunch of important roles in society that people who are free-minded don't want to do.
Yeah.
You need people inside the matrix to be soldiers and go die in a ditch, right? You need people inside the matrix to stand in a gas station and really care about mopping that floor. So you need these kind of people, right? So, and you're saying, what are we trying to do? What we're trying to do is speak to the sovereign individuals or the people who are capable of having a free mind and help them escape. Just like in the movie The Matrix, Morpheus says, not everybody can escape. Yeah. Not everybody can. Most people are dependent on the system. They'll fight to defend it. But some people have their minds ready to be freed.
But do you think
and that's who I'm talking to. We definitely need a system. Every system of control is always going to be full of lies. They're always going to lie to us to a degree to benefit themselves. You're never going to have absolute freedom. You're never going to have absolute truth. But you do need checks and balances to that system to prevent complete tyranny. You need a contingent of people who are free, who fight back and talk against the matrix. People like me, people who support me, those who are particularly free thinking. Those are the people you need to keep some kind of power balance in place. Yeah. If I didn't exist and people who thought like me didn't exist and nobody spoke up, then it would just be absolute tyranny. And then Balenciaga could just be pedophiles forever. There have to be people to stand up and say no and push back. Yeah. In life, it doesn't matter where. In life, if there's no checks and balances, if there's no equal and opposite force, everything becomes tyrannical. Okay, so the days of easy money are gone. I want to even in the last 2 or 3 years, it was easy money mode. Every idiot you knew was making money. Every clown had made money on a pump. You know, a number of people who thought they were expert crypto traders in the last 3 years. It's so funny. I'm a great crypto trader. Everything went up. It all went up. What do you mean you're a great trader? You could have bought anything. You bought poo dick coin and made money. Of course you're a trader. Like that, all that shit's over, right? So all the easy money's gone. It's all cyclical. So all the amateurs are going to start suffering because now we're entering the realm of the professional, and making money is going to be harder than it's ever been. The best way to make money in the world today certainly has to be something online. I think that making money online gives you absolute freedom of your own geography. It gives you access to the largest possible customer base. I think you should just be true to yourself and true to your heart. I think that's the true test, because that's where real happiness lies. I ought to make it very clear to people that you're never going to be happy if you're not honest with yourself and living your true experience that you want to live on this planet. When you're on your deathbed, you're going to look back at your life and say, did I do what I really want to do? Yeah. Did I say what I really want to say? So you have to find the honesty and the bravery to do that, because that's the most important thing you can do as a person.